Wow. Thank you for that introduction. And I wanted to be grateful first before I get started. I want to acknowledge the presence of my parents. They are here. Thank you. Can you stand up for a second? And of course, my husband and all my kids. Thank you, and my brothers right there. Thank you. I have a question for you. Do you desire to get anything you want in life? Raise your hands. Yes. But I have a good news and a bad news. The good news is, of course, you can get anything you want in your life. But here's the catch. That's the bad news. You can get anything you want in life only if you pay the price. And you ask me now, what's the price and how much? Well, I don't know. But here's what I know. I get what I want in my life when I pay the price in the form of this. Pain. You like it? Nobody does like pain. But for you and I to be on the same page, I looked it up online, and I found this very simple and meaningful meaning. It means unpleasant feeling. Something that doesn't create a pleasurable experience. It can be something that's not fun. So why am I saying all this? Because you and I, wherever we are, or whatever the color is, you may be brown, black, blue, red, whatever your education, doesn't matter. We will all have the same pain, or we will have experienced pain at some point in our lives, right? But you have to know that that can be a powerful force as well to move us from this point to that point. And I am interested why some people don't get what they want just because two things. It can be either they don't know the price or they don't want to they don't want to pay the price, right? It's that simple. So I'm going to talk about how you can transform your pains into power and get what you want. Because pain is inevitable. Now, before I go to that, having that said, that we can get what we want, but you have to pay the price. Do you still desire to get what you want? Raise your hands. Yes. There you go. Okay. But before I get started, I wanted to introduce myself again and tell you where I came from. My name is Ana Santos, as the video said. I'm a certified life coach. I'm an author, a speaker, and an entrepreneur. But my life isn't like that before. I came from an underprivileged family background, originally from the Philippines. And I was both financially broke and emotionally broken. Why? Because my father used to work in the Middle East for almost 30 years. And growing up without a dad, it was painful for me as a daughter. And at age 8, I started to work, helping my mom, doing this. Yes, I was from a poor family, but I had rich dreams. I was told that the surest way for me to overcome the poverty and to change the course of my life is to go to school, get good grades, and be part of the JOB force in the top 3 professions in the world. And those are being a medical doctor, engineer, and a lawyer. There you go. But I wasn't really quite enthused by the 2 professions, so I ended up being interested in the medical field. So I told my mom I'm going to go and get my bachelor's degree to get myself prepared to enter the medical school. But even then, to that stage, it was a hardship for me because every grading period was a challenge. It was also the time when my father was experiencing the Gulf War. So communication was really so bad. And at some point, I had to skip meals. I had no money to begin with for transportation. And one of the most painful experiences that I had was each time I would fill out the forms, you know, school forms, that would require permanent address. I wouldn't be able to put anything because we didn't have a house. So I would hop from one place to another. And there now, one of the painful experiences at that point in the process of moving from one place to another, and this is my very first time to reveal it with my parents around, I was almost sexually assaulted by the son of the landlord. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want my parents to get worried about me. But at that point, I got reminded that the number one lifeline or self-help could be coming from me. Nobody could save me, just me. And you know what? The fight or flight response was activated at that time. I was able to run. And so, fast forward, I was able to graduate, and I was the youngest amongst the batch. I earned a bachelor's degree at around age 18, with high grades, and I passed the licensure examinations. Then years after that, I met my very handsome husband right there. Where is he? And there, my beautiful kids in my booth right there. And each time I would talk about pain, I've become the laughingstock of my friends because I said, each time I would think about pain, it's childbirth that comes to mind. And they said, it's not because you have 4 kids. And sorry, I'm thinking about the 5th one, but I'm not quite sure yet. But and so we decided to go to Canada. And years after that, so we settled here. But the thing was, the experience of transitioning from the old culture to the new one was hard. We've had a lot of adjustments. But the good thing was we were able to land our respective jobs related to our trades. And so came 2012, I felt like different when my 4th child was prematurely given birth because of profuse bleeding. So I had a near-death experience that I had to emergently give birth to him. And of course we survived. That's why I'm here. I'm not a ghost. So then weeks after that, I felt something different in me, only to realize that I've had this. Being in the medical background, I cannot self-diagnose, but I told one of my doctors that I'm kind of having these symptoms and signs that I had this, to the point of having those bad experiences from when I was a child, to broken relationships, to being ridiculed, to being judged, everything from having that sense of lack and all that, to the point of I wanted to take my life. My own life. And for those of you who don't know what postpartum depression is, it's a mood disorder that typically occurs in moms after childbirth. So what's the trigger points? It's been affecting the moms who had hormonal changes or exhaustion from not sleeping all the time, and manifested in irritability, anger. So my husband is the shock absorber, sorry to say. But then again, I found something that, going back to the experience of missing my dad all the time, I said, I'm not gonna let that happen to my children if I take my own life. So I have that brotherly strength ignited again. And then I found one day, just writing and writing and writing, only to realize that, so this is my baby. There you are. Say hi. It's right there. Found myself, I've written a book in 2012, and then I self-published it. The only reason I wrote that is to have that emotions poured out through writing. But people are buying, so I self-published that. And then this one I just wrote last year, and then this one this year, and then it's coming up in November with Brian Tracy. So, but then again, saying all this, I have discovered that power that I'm an author. And in the process of doing this, I left my job. I created my own business from home. I ran my coaching program, my online transcription business, and everything. And that also gave birth to me being real estate investor. Now I have a problem. I have many permanent addresses now. So I don't know, I'm confused. And our portfolio continues to grow. So, as I said, I'm going to teach you because pain is inevitable. It's not something that can be avoided. Why not make use of that pain to transform into power and be successful? So I'm going to teach you 5 easy steps that I did to myself that you too can adopt and make use of them. You don't have to be an author. You don't have to be a medical transcriptionist. You don't have to be an investor, just something that you want to do in your life. I'm going to start off by saying this. Say it. Yearn. Yearn. What does yearn mean? Something deeper than that. Desire. There you go. Desire. Desire is something that you have in your heart to go to the place that you want to be, from this to this, from dark to light. And if you know Napoleon Hill, raise your hands. Yes. The author of Think and Grow Rich. He is talking about the 13 principles of success. And the very first one he said was desire. Burning desire. And I was inspired by that. And you may see here, it looks like an abbreviation. Well, it is. Because some people are famous for associating, analogies just to make them stick to the minds of their listeners. So I have this as abbreviation. It's my way also to help myself learn more quickly, because when I was in university, I have little resources, so I have to really learn quickly. That's how I really help myself. So let me unpack this yearn, and by saying the why first. So what is why? You, okay. So imagine a house. Say about your house, just your house. Imagine a house. And that house is your life. So what do you think is the main foundation, I just said, oh my God, I just squealed. What do you think? I just said, okay, foundation is the most important part of the house, isn't it? And now, the house is your life. And you are the foundation. Imagine the foundation not being strong. How can you withstand the calamities and the flood and the snowstorm and all that when you're not strengthened or you're not equipped? And you know why people fail? Because we are all over the place. We try to live the dreams of other people. We try to live the lives of, your parents. You try to always be concerned about other people's opinions. To me, there are only 2 opinions that matter. God's opinion about me and my opinion about myself. I'm not trying to be religious here, but what I'm saying is there must be somebody to believe in you, and that's you, right? Now let me go to letter E, and that's educate. It means it's not always about education from school. That has to be just like this, investing in yourself. And I am going to tell you about one relative of mine that he is one of the wealthiest investors in the world, Warren Buffett. He's my uncle. He is. He said that investing in oneself supersedes all investments because it pays the best interest, right? And he knows that knowledge is power, but there is more powerful than that. And I'm going to go to the next one, A, action or act. Of course, you have received all the inspiration today, and you have your workbooks with you. So what are you going to do with the workbooks? Are you going to have them all put away in the shelf? Of course not. You have to act on them. Just, do all what you can to put an action to what you have learned, right? But you have to take immediate action for that. Not just taking action, but taking immediate action. And then the R, to me, this is what life is all about. It's returning or sharing what you have learned. You won't be able to return or share what you have if you're not equipped, if you have not educated yourself or invested in yourself, if you have not acted upon what you have learned and you share. Remember, you can only give what you have. And you may have heard about the oxygen mask theory, that you have to put the mask on first on you before you put the mask on the dependent, right? It's a win-win situation for that. And the next one is network. What is network? This one is network. You have to be in the group of like-minded people. Those people who can inspire you, who can teach you, can lift you up, and also you can do that by hiring a mentor. So having all that, how do I help people? Since I am a certified life coach, it's an outcome-based curriculum. I help them with emotional intelligence, time management, self-mastery. This one is an online course. It's composed of 7 modules. It's self-paced. And then my transcription business that I run from home, I help authors as well and business owners. And this is what I'm going to say to you. Your life is your message to the world. You are not defined by your past. It's done. What's going to define you is your steps from today that you're going to take. What are you going to do with all the learnings and the wisdoms from the experts? My gifts to you, because you're here, I have limited copies of my book that I'm going to give away for raffle. And then, a complimentary coaching program for 30 minutes with me. And of course, a lucky winner of 1 Apple Watch. So my booth is right there. If you wanted to go there and have your name, email address, let's have some fun. And of course, I want to leave you with this message and powerful quote before I go. And I hope I've given you a valuable lesson and inspiration. It says, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Yes. That's all for me.
Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the stretch.